Welcome to the Networking with Michelle podcast, the show dedicated on providing you the how-tos of marketing and networking strategies. Here we believe in the Jim Rohn quote, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Hey everyone, thank you for tuning into another episode of Networking with Michelle. I'm your host, Michelle Gomez. Hey, I hope your 2017 is going good. As we are in the third week of the year, I hope that momentum is still going strong when it comes to your goals and resolutions and all those good things. I wanted to just drop a note. Want to say thank you. Thank you. I've been getting a lot of engagement through social media. We're referring to the podcast episodes. Michelle, you're opening up. I've never heard or seen you like this before. You're such an inspiration. Keep doing what you want to do. Keep doing what you do, which is what I want to do, right? And I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you. If you don't follow me from social media, I need to do this, right? So you can hear it. I do have a lot of people that follow me on social media, so I was able to do those videos on those individual platforms. But you, my listener, I wanted to say thank you. You are appreciated. Those words of encouragement, it keeps me going, keeps me motivated. Every time you like, every time you comment, every time you share, I see you and I appreciate you. Today's guest is a good friend. I've been friends with this guy, his wife, the family for the past 10, 11 years. Isom Kuade Washington, owner of IWonder, also call him AKA IWonder, also call him that. Look, this is not an interview. This is not an interview. This is a conversation. This is really two friends talking, right? And I'm pretty cool, and I know a lot of my guests. But it's really true friends talking, and we talk about everything: life, fatherhood, marriage, of course, work, business, play, right? Like you name it. Hip hop. One of the few guys that I can talk to about hip hop, talking about these albums and the state of hip hop in 2016, 2017, because it was recorded in December. But look, this is conversation. This is really me allowing you to enter into my world, right, with one of my friends, long-term friends. And I just hope you enjoy this episode. I hope you get some nuggets. One thing Isom mentioned that I love and I've been thinking and finding ways to elaborate, and this could be an episode by itself, is the process of progress, right? Everyone talks about how you have to trust the process, but what does progress look like to you? Right? At the end of my interviews, I always ask, how do you define success? But if you don't know how to measure your progress, or if you don't know what success looks like to you, you probably don't know where you are in the process. So, look, he said it. I've just been carrying it, right? It's been circulating in my mind. And he goes into that a little bit further. And I think it's something very, very important that we should all explore in our personal and professional lives. I also want to let you know this interview is sponsored by Line 25 Consulting, empowering entrepreneurs to develop their personal brand by leveraging relationships and their expertise. So for more information, please visit Line 25, Line 25, the number 25, consulting.com. Look, without further ado, Isom Kuade Washington. Isom, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
No doubt. I am so glad to be talking to you because I got some things I need to sort through. And I know him, so I don't think this is going to be a regular interview. We about to shoot the shit real breezy right now.
That's all we know how to do. I don't think we know how to do it any other way.
All right. So why don't you go ahead and tell the people a little bit about yourself?
All right. You're just going to put me on the spot like that. Well, like she said already, my name is Isom Kuade Washington. I am a father and a husband, first and foremost. Got a family that I'm trying to keep fed and clothed and sheltered and housed, number one. So how they eat takes priority. I'm also work for a Fortune 500 organization responsible for the business development manager over a specific geographic area. We got about 70 million in revenue that my team is responsible for growing profitably. That's our short and our long-term goals. I also run my own small organization by the name of IWonder Group, where we offer essential services both commercially and residentially. Essential services can be anything from the energy that you use to power your home or your business to the phone line that you use to access your communication platform as well. And also, my wife and I run a blog by the name of Pancakes and Cider, where we document our family's life journey through basically the journey from just surviving in this America that we know today to getting from the point where you're just surviving to thriving. And we believe that we're on that path, and we just want to share it with not just the other people out there on the same journey or a similar journey or looking to start their own journey, but also for our kids as well, so they can see that, hey, our parents really were kind of crazy back in the day, you know. So yeah, that's pretty much wraps up most of my daily routine.
All right. So what's your why?
My why, my personal why is that's a great question. It's really about the process of progress, to be honest with you. Um, it's 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 that kind of ingrained drive to do better tomorrow than you did today, and really just to have a better tomorrow, so you can show other people who are striving for the same thing that it is possible. And I think a part of that is not just showing your successes, but also showing your failures and the things that you've had to overcome to get to where you're at and where you're going. So set a good example, have a better tomorrow, live a good life, and try to reach your potential as much as your potential as you can. And a lot of things that I tell to a lot of the individuals that I work with, especially my team, my employees and whatnot, is it's about lifestyle design. It's about waking up to the life that you want to wake up to. Um, and I think that's so important because not many of us have even had that opportunity to design that type of lifestyle. So if you look at us historically, when I say us, it could be any type of group of individuals or people. But so if we're just talking about minorities in America, we haven't had that opportunity to. We've just had to survive historically. But now we're at a place historically where we can actually build and grow the type of lifestyle that we want. And I think it's very important for us to take on that opportunity based on so many people that had to sacrifice just to get us to this point.
And speaking of lifestyle design, like you have a lot. I mean, you have corporate, blogs, business. Uh, you're a man. Husband, father.
Right.
You're a son. You're a brother, an uncle. Like, so
Right.
how do you manage all of this? Like how do you prioritize whether it's day to day or week by week? How do you design your lifestyle?
I think you already said the word. It's prioritize. You have to set your own priorities. And so that's what I do. So I set my priorities, and I set my priorities based upon the people that I have chosen to allow into my life. So a lot of people hate their jobs because they didn't choose the people that they work with, and they have to get up and they have to work with and serve these individuals every day. Um, so for me, I'm really lucky in the fact that I like the people that I work with. I get to choose the people that I work with, much because I'm the hiring manager. So, and then I get to choose the individuals that I also do business with and the stories that I want to follow as well. So when you're juggling all that, you're juggling it based on the people in your life that you're invested more into. So obviously, like the family comes first, right? So yeah, at least in my life, the kids, or my one son with another one on the way. So she's obviously going to automatically get top billing real soon. My wife, my other family members, based upon the type of life that we have agreed that we want to design for ourselves. Um, and then from there, my employees as well. Um, they get top priority because they're executing on the vision that we've set forth. And the vision is based upon all of the employees and what type of life that they've told me at some point in time that they want to build for themselves, and some sort of common agreement that we've said, hey, if we do X, we can all get Y, you know? Um, so So that's really how you juggle it all. And there's an understanding that you can't, because I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I do it well, because I don't. Things slip through the cracks all the time, and that's because people are fluid. People are fluid, and you can't do anything by yourself because you wouldn't get anything done. So you do have to rely on people, and that takes a lot of trust and faith. But then people are people. They gonna do what they do anyway. And so one of my mantras has always been, you can't make a grown person do anything. So there's got to be this faith in this individual when they show up and they say that I want to do this and I am going to do this, that they actually do it. And like I said, I don't get that right 100% of the time either, but I try not to hold anybody else to a standard higher than I hold myself either.
So you said you get to choose pretty much the people you prioritize. Of course, family, home first, and family, and then work. So how do you build the right team as a hiring manager?
So it leads me into, it's a good question. It leads me to another one of my other mantras, which is for me, and I impress this upon other hiring managers at my organization, is you hire the motivation and then you teach the skill. So you can't go the other way around. So because you could have the best person who's qualified for the job, who knows how to do the job, who has the technical capabilities to do the job. But if they don't want to do the job, we go back to mantra number one, which is you can't make a grown person do anything. So you find somebody who wants to do better, who wants to deliver either on that role, that responsibility, or within their life. Sometimes it's outside of professional aspirations. And I actually don't believe you can separate your professional aspirations from your personal ones, not in today's day and age. So I do find the people that are, number one, trying to find a way to build a better life that they've envisioned for themselves. And then I show them the opportunities that I can put on their table or on their plate for them to decide whether or not that fits into the life that they want to build for themselves, if that makes any sense.
Okay. So you hire the motivated person. It's 6 months, 12 months into the job. For whatever reason, things ain't going well according to what they thought. The money's good, but they're not feeling it. So how do you keep them motivated, have them believing in themselves, having them maintain that, top-notch 100% level of work as an individual that's contributing to the team?
Well, there's a number of things that you do. Number one is you got to set clear expectations up front. And so within any relationship, once again, I keep going back to the importance of people and the importance of relationships. When it comes to relationships, like, this is the cliche, and it's a cliche. Cliches are cliches for a reason, right? Which is communication. Communication is so key. Expectations. Like, we're all out here, whether you're white, black, green, blue, whatever your religious background, sexual orientation, we all have a lens of which we view the world through, right? And like, the way I see it is, and you got to forgive me because I go on tangents. You know this about me already, right?
Philosopher.
So you got, it comes back to understanding the humanity of people and speaking back through their humanity. And that has to come with setting clear expectations and the communication skills that we use to set those with one another. Because at the end of the day, we're not mind readers. People come with and the older we get, the stronger our kind of filter becomes, right? Because our experiences become ingrained in us. So it's almost like the older we get, although we get more experiences, you should be learning that you have to make less assumptions about people because you don't know what they've been through. And so, but at the same time, you can only give somebody who you are. It's not really possible to give somebody who you are not over a consistent long period amount of time. So for me, I try to motivate by number one, being the best example of myself that I can be, and guaranteeing my team and the people that I work with and my partners that I can only give you me. And I may not be the most qualified person for the job, but we're going to find out, right? Like we're going to find out together, but just know between point A and point B or point C or wherever we're trying to get to, you're only going to be getting the most genuine of me that you can get. Right. So if I don't know it, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm not going to be embarrassed by the fact that I don't, that I have to ask a question because I don't know. You know, that's all I can give. And I expect the same from the people I'm working with as well. So we can get to a point to where if this isn't the path for you or if this isn't the path for us, then we can address that soon and then make a decision from there. Right. Whether or not whether or not this is the best relationship that we want to keep on fostering.
I also think, at least my experience within the finance industry, I don't think there was enough check-ins, right? It's like you may either get your monthly or quarterly bonus, right? And the supervisor's telling you, yay or nay if you got a bonus or not. And then you get your annual evaluation, but it's like maybe you can do those soft check-ins, right? Not necessarily sitting down with the paper spread out, but 4 weeks, 90 days, excuse me, how are you feeling about the job? How are you feeling about everything? Keeping it real informal, but you're still making sure that your team is okay.
Right. So and it also depends on where in the chain, in this hierarchy chain that you're at and the basis of your relationship as well. So on my business side, we're doing direct sales. And on that side, we have a number of, I think I've got about 8 independent business owners, sales reps, kind of spread throughout the country on my team currently, and so they could be anywhere from Maryland, California. I have 3 in Atlanta. I got 1 in Houston, and those check-ins are going to be different than the check-ins that I have with my direct employees that are collecting retirement benefits, that have this long-term career path in front of them, that have a different risk appetite. And the more individuals that you deal with, you tend to realize that everybody needs a different level of consistent communication and feedback loop because once again, everybody's different. So while the check-ins are good, it's almost more important to let it be known that they are available, you know? And then once again, for that individual, based upon what they want or what they're trying to get for their own life, um, they should have, it's up to all of us to kind of take an honest assessment of the resources that we do or we do not have available to us. And then to tap into those resources as we see fit based on whatever it is that we're trying to do. So the checkpoints are important. So like for those individuals, for my sales team that are around the country, that might be every other month. If I see that you're getting new customers by yourself already, um, and you're just killing it, then maybe that is a quarterly touch point. Maybe because you already told me at the beginning of the year that I'm trying to nail down, I don't know, 15 new customers a quarter. So then by the end of quarter one, if you've got 25, then you don't need me like that. Except for me to tell you, great job, keep up the good work, you're killing it, versus somebody else that's maybe not at that point. You might need a little bit more checkpoint. So it's about setting the expectations. So this conversation is going to take loop and loop and loop again, right? Because it's about setting the expectations clearly, but you defining a lot of those expectations for yourself based upon what you want out of your life, figuring out if that fits in with what we're trying to do and what we're going to measure that against, and then really So whether or not you're an employee of mine or an independent business owner or one of our other business owners that one of our independent agents as well, whose small business books that we're trying to grow, my role is still the same, which is essentially an accountability partner. And and hopefully you trust me enough to share with me what your goals are so that we can then hold you accountable to that.
I want to pivot a little bit. How's the balance between parenthood versus entrepreneurship?
And there's
What balance?
right, right. What balance? Yeah, what balance? There's no balance. It's all life, you know? It's all just life. And for most entrepreneurs, I would feel like it's the life that you chose to. You know what I mean? So as you got to deal with the consequences of your decisions, and that's all of us. But it's a good thing for me. It works, but it's not going to work for everybody. So just like I tell other people, like parenthood's not for everybody.
That's
Marriage is not for
honest.
everybody.
That's honest. There's not enough of that being said.
I mean, we've been obviously this is America, so if you're not if you're not selling something, you're being sold to, right? And it's both. And for years, we've been sold that the American dream or the path to happiness is what marriage and a couple kids and a mortgage, you know. And I think we all want access to that. Should we want it? Like if we so choose that for ourselves, but how are we so individualistic, right? And we praise our high individualism in this society, but the solution is the same for everybody. That don't make no sense. So when you come back to the balance, not everybody can strike that balance. Not everybody can set those priorities because you have to realize that at the end of the day, you're still in control of the 24 hours in the day that you have. So how are you deciding to spend that? You know, um, and for me, I just have to have a calendar. So my calendar is everything, and my calendar is usually based on, like we said before, people and goals. Like I almost got to schedule in parent time, but it's not necessarily formally in the calendar as far as spend 2 hours with son or anything like that. I know, Tuesdays after I leave my office, I go pick up my son from his school. And from on Tuesdays and Thursdays, from the time I pick him up to the time I read him his book in bedtime, that's his time. That's just his time. And I love it. Like I am fortunate to be able to be his father. And then after that time, uh, then I schedule in the rest of my obligations that I have either for that week or for that month or for that quarter. And based upon generally, I would say my quarterly goals, I back into the rest of my calendar with the other priorities that I'm trying to get to. Um, but it's not easy because, shoot, as you know, sometimes you're responding just to whoever's screaming the loudest, right? I mean, it's like, all right, let me get to you. You too loud in my ear right now. So it's a constant juggling act. And I will say this that entrepreneur, um, business development professional, whoever you are, if you have a career or if you have something that you're truly grinding on, then your number one challenge will always be time management. So I'm a work in progress there too.
I do want to go back to what you said about the, I guess, single versus married, parent or not parent, being an individual. I also feel that because I'm single, no kids,
Right.
and I'm 34, and parents are from Cameroon, African.
Right.
So there's a lot of tradition and culture
Right.
behind how you define a woman.
Right.
And I could be biased, but
Right.
I would like for society for people just to be able to express themselves, whether, hey, I don't want to get married, I don't want to have kids, have some form of alternate lifestyle, and it's okay, versus why not, what's wrong with you?
Right.
And and I know how I am. I get hyper focused, and it's like I'm trying to get this business off the ground, and that's all I see. Like this, all I see. This is all I know. But I spend a lot of time defending myself when I do get into those conversations.
See, I hear you and I sympathize with you. And short of trying to give you any advice on to handle those people, because my natural instinct is you went left when you started defending yourself, because you don't have to, and you should not have to feel guilty about the way you want to mold your own life, because you have that right and that responsibility and that option. It's your life. You're the only one waking up to you in the morning, right? It's absurd to me, but I understand it, and it's one of the reasons I love hate sometimes this modern country that we have today, because we're so full of contradictions and hypocrisy sometimes,
Oh
right?
yeah.
And
But and I think that's the beauty of my argument too, right? Because even though
right,
I'm defending myself, it's like I'm also trying to inform. I'm trying to educate.
right,
But yeah, and then it's like this perpetual cycle.
exactly. It's a perpetual cycle, and then so then you get to a point in the road, in the crossroad, where you're like, all right, so do I make it a point to make it my pulpit to educate the uneducated, or do I just make it a more point to find my tribe? So that conversation isn't necessary within my tribe. So the entrepreneurship conversation isn't necessary within an entrepreneurship tribe, right? Right. So, and you can't even get, so let's say you're trying to become, or you're trying to become the best entrepreneur you can be, and you're not in your tribe. How far can you get if you're always stuck at conversation 1.0? Right. And then so it's the same way, almost like personally and within that other lifestyle that you're trying to build out for yourself. Like, how far can you ever get there if you're stuck at conversation 1.0? But your tribe, you don't have to have that conversation in the first place, you know?
that See, that's why I like talking to you.
You know?
Because like I love your perspective, and I think my perspective right now is I'm trying to be that person too. Hey, let's address these tough conversations, right? Let's
Right,
address these. I feel like there's a lot of surface-based conversations right now
right,
in society. So let's address these tough issues, relationships, mental health, etc., etc., whether it's on this show or just in the general public. And I got to think about that. But I know that's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying to address the tough conversations because I don't think enough of it's being said.
right. And I'm with you. Like, there's a lot of conversations we're not having, and some of that's driven by national discourse, politics, what's hot in the media right now. So that's what we generally, as a society, charge the media with, is kind of driving our national conversations. Um, However you feel about the media, you can say whether or not they're doing a good or bad job at that, today, but they still do it. So when the having the open conversations, while I'm definitely all a proponent for, especially being, a communication advocate, um, it's strange because you eventually get to that point where you're going to communicate with somebody who totally disagrees with everything that you stand for, and where is the common ground there? You know, so like example that keeps coming back to my mind is this new alt-right leader, right? Spencer such and such, somebody Spencer, whatever his name is, but we need to know his name because he's going to be out there, right? So when we talk about the right to express yourself, where do we put in that type of expression and rhetoric? Do those individuals also have the right to express themselves whenever they want to, or however they want to? You know, I would argue yes.
Unfortunately, yeah,
All
I
men.
don't want to hear it,
Unfortunately,
but
right? Exactly. So, but what he's done is he's found his tribe, so he can do that with them. And then the beauty of, once again, but then we come back to the ugliness, and then the beauty of this country is then we have the right to go find our own, and but I like when people do speak up and have the conversation. So if at the very least it can tell me as a person who disagrees, yeah, I don't need to mess with you.
Yeah, because I
But at
know.
least, right,
I
but
know
at
how
least
to
I
deal
know
with
who
you.
you are.
Yeah.
And I want that. I want those individuals, and no matter who we are, I want us to feel more comfortable speaking up about the things that we feel are right or important to us or whatnot, because it makes us more available to find the respective people that we want to choose to be around.
Absolutely. All right, just a few more questions. I gotta ask,
Yeah.
what's on your playlist right now? Did you hear that new J. Cole?
Which one? All right, so we gotta be talking like false prophets, right? That man, J. Cole never disappoints. Like I'm so happy about hip hop right now. And I know people gonna feel sometimes, oh, that new stuff is trash, that new whatever. Yeah, you sounding like you plus 30, like big surprise, right? Like imagine what was our parents saying about our music? It was trash because we didn't identify with it. Little Yachty or whatever. I don't know his name. Little Uzi Vert, as Steve Harvey said, little Pistol Starter, or no, Cedric the Seven. Like they ain't making music for us. They're making music for them. But right now, hip hop's in a special place in music where it's almost blossoming. So you're getting everything from that all the way to the new Childish Gambino, and then you got J. Cole in between that. Then you got, your Kendrick in there. Then you got Isaiah Rashad, which is crazy fire right now. Ab Soul just dropped. Um, it was it's such a good time for music in my mind because you can find what you like or what you gravitate to. It's what are you listening to?
You know what? I have been giving Drake's Views a second round.
Wow.
I try to
Wow.
I try to listen to it in March. I was like, and I'm a Drake fan,
Right.
right? Loved everything first listen views. I was like, but I'm going through something, so I'm in my feelings. So,
That's what Drake is for. That's what Drake is for.
and I'm
Drake
like,
Drake came out at the right time where people were tired of being thugs all the time. Like it takes too much mental energy to be this strong all the time. Like I got feelings and emotions too.
and that's the real, and I think that's why I like Drake and J. Cole, because I feel like I'm the hybrid, right? Because
Sure.
there is that emotional relationship side. Whether you're male or female, we're all emotional. We're human beings, right?
Right.
So he'll sing and rap his lullabies, and then you got J. Cole and Kendrick. That is like, I want to push the culture forward, right?
Right.
I want to be the change, whether whatever my microcosm might be in
Right.
Houston or you know greater scale. Like, how can I push the culture forward? Like, these are my experiences and my perspective, but I still want to
Right.
push the culture forward. So that I live in between those artists right now.
Nice, nice. Yeah, and they say that new Cole and Kendrick is supposed to still be dropping. So we gonna keep our fingers crossed on that one because they're gonna shut the game down whenever that drops. But that Childish Gambino has my ear right now, like serious. I man, I think I've been jacking that Gambino talent for a while, and I feel like he's coming into almost like his creative zenith between his comedy special that he dropped years ago just to see what it was going to be like. And it was great. It was like a great piece of content. And then obviously to his show Atlanta right now, which is killing the game. And then now this album that, as Questlove said, he sucker punched the world with, like it's this crazy thing to be so free in your creative spirit, you know?
And then
So
I just gotta shout out, represent definitely for Solange, Alicia Keys, both having some socially conscious albums, and John Legend on the get the R&B stuff in there too.
right, right, right. Frank Ocean, he finally dropped. Like, and let me tell you something about it. How much time you got? Because let me tell you something about.
I got 30 minutes.
Let me tell you something about Alicia Keys. I'm so proud of that makeup free movement because I'll make the statement, and I've said it to my wife Amber, plenty of times. Is the feminist movement isn't really truly realized until makeup is seen as an option. Like, to me, that's damn near the last hurdle. Is this expectation that a woman has to color up her appearance just to step out into society?
Okay. You
That
know how much my level of respect has gone up for you with that one, because I don't wear makeup, right? That's just never been my thing.
right.
And I do believe we need Alicia Keys and a Beyonce and Gabrielle Union and all, this other sisters to push that movement forward. But we also need men like you, celebrities, whatever you want to call it, to like back that up, like reiterate that statement. Because I don't think there's enough men that make those statements or agree with the movement.
That and yeah, and so it goes back to our almost global patriarchy, right? And then so when I say, like, I don't feel sorry for, but I sympathize with just women's rights in general, right? Like this is so crazy. We've had men and women forever, like forever, beginning of time, humanity, and this is still a thing. Like it's still a thing, and I guess appearance or trying to control somebody's appearance and how to tap into their insecurities for control purposes, I think is just, I don't know, I think it's just shady shit, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? And I guess it's even more exemplified now that, the newest, like our newest that is due, kid that's due in February, it's a girl, so I'm gonna have a little girl. So it makes, but I felt like this way before then,
Right.
and like a lot of people that I've dated in the past, and Amber doesn't wear a lot of makeup, only when she chooses to. But I also have dated people that, you have to get done up just to go to HEB, just go get some groceries and some pork skins. How you gonna need makeup to go get pork skins? That don't make no sense, but it always used to get to me that almost like the mental mind fuck a person has to be put through to believe that about themselves and to tie that back to their self-worth.
I
But it's
mean,
not
it's
that it's not
hard.
yeah, you're right, but it's not their fault because this is the world we've grown up in. These are the things that we've said publicly that we value over other things like self-worth, like true self-worth, intellect, and self-expression. Like, who do we put on a pedestal every day? If you separate it down the sexes line and you got men, who do we put on a pedestal? Women, who do we put on a pedestal? I mean, we don't even need to get into our election. Like it's insanity in my mind. So that's just my 2 cents on that matter. But that's gonna give us down a whole other rabbit hole of society. I don't know if we're ready for it. We might have to do a follow up on that one. I'm ready whenever you want me.
Hey, they already tell me I'm too deep. So I'm like,
Don't let them tell you that. You gonna find your audience gonna find you. Your audience gonna find you. Like, Michelle, somebody need to be talking about this because, or else you got Charlamagne out here talking
uh,
crazy. That was disappointing.
and I actually like him because he asks the best questions, on the Breakfast Club, especially if it's someone if it's a serious celebrity or influencer, however you want to go about calling whoever. So that to me, like, I know he's foolish, but I wasn't expecting that.
Right, not right. That level of foolery. He was like, "Come on, Charlamagne. Like, we thought you knew better." That it was disappointment, right? But and what I will give Charlamagne is his ability to say, "Yo, maybe I fucked up, or I did fuck up." Like he immediately the next day after his tweet, after the response that he got, named himself Donkey of the Day. And that's what I'll always respect about him. And then with that type of lashback, like he asked for more education. He was like, well, if I don't know of these people, send them to me. Let me learn more about them. I'm open to it. But obviously his fallacy is just assuming just because he didn't know about them that they don't exist. And that there aren't tons of black women out there making a difference within that space already. You know? So that's unfortunate. But that's what women gotta go through. Especially black women. But
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say,
right.
because we're just so strong. But even myself, among my friends, I'm like, I'm an emotional wreck. And they're like, no, Michelle.
Right.
And, a couple of months ago, I had a breakdown. Me and my best friend, we were on the phone. And I was like, look, I know we're growing apart, but it was just one of those mornings. Within an hour, I had 3 people calling me with like different emergencies, different needs. And I'm trying to work on my shit. Like, I'm like, I got my own thing to do with the deadline, and everyone's calling me. And I found myself on a Tuesday morning breaking down because who's going to help me?
Right. Right. And you're absolutely correct about that. So I will say when we were circling back to calendars that we were talking about before, like when I don't necessarily schedule my son in my calendar, I do schedule myself in my calendar. Because ain't nobody looking out for you like that. Besides yourself, and only truly what your needs are. And man, and it's so important to have the ability and I guess maybe the power to say no to people. Um, to me, it's, no pun intended, but it's like the ultimate trump card. Like that's how I know that I'm valuing myself at the level that I feel like I need to is when I still feel like I can say no, and not feel guilt around it.
Yeah, and I think it's a catch-22 because, my friend was like, well, Michelle, there's something about you, your gift that people are drawn to you because you're able to help them. You're able to give good advice, right? So it's like, yeah, the gift, but then the curse is, when and how do you say no? And so
You-
I agree with that.
You're you're absolutely correct. It is the catch-22. I don't have it down either because you always feel like for the people that you care about, you can stretch yourself a little extra, right? And you almost don't mind doing it to an extent because you like myself, we like helping people, especially if we feel like we can make an impact. But we all have to kind of define what that boiling over point is for each of us. And so you were also talking about mental health before too. That's why we need to have conversations around that because sometimes it's hard for us to define that about ourselves. Whatever goes inside your mind happens so often that it's normal to you. So to have somebody else to professionally to bounce that off of as far as your thoughts, your struggles, um, whatever it is you're trying to get through, not necessarily just today, but this week, this month, this year, is really important to have somebody to speak with. In my opinion, like mental health issues. I mean, how deep we've buried those hatchets. Like it's a minefield in a lot of our minds. In my mind,
Yeah, I'm actually, I reached out to my therapist this week and I'm going to start my sessions again the top of January because
that's
it's the roller coaster of personal, obviously 34.
hmm
When I was 21, I really thought life was going to be different. Actually, I thought last year life was going to be different.
forget it. 21 to 34, man.
Right?
2016, I thought was gonna be different.
And
Yeah.
the entrepreneur roller coaster and family. My brother's getting married, and he's younger than me, which is fine. But then I'm starting to question I'm starting to see and question a lot of other things. Michelle, what do you want? Do you even know what you want? I know what I want today, but if you ask me at 6 p.m., so I was like, all right, Michelle, you talk about it, just go back and do it. And once again, being comfortable with that, because nothing's wrong with me. I don't have a diagnosis, um, but just having that safe haven to talk.
Right, to talk, hash that out, and to decide if that's truly what you really want, because nobody else can decide that for you, and being really honest about it, and you almost can't even plan for it. Like, I didn't know when we were gonna have kids, Amber and I, but little Channing, my son, for the people who don't know that that's my son's name, he is. We didn't plan on having him, and at that time in our lives, we always said that if we were going to have kids, it would be we were going to wait until one of us was a full-time entrepreneur. So that's one of the reasons why after he was born, I did quit my job. Because I was like, your appetite for risk becomes different when it's not just yourself that's eating off of your paycheck, right? Or your revenue. So I knew that if I didn't take the plunge then the likelihood of it happening later was going to be shortening. And I'm glad I did take the plunge. So sometimes you're just never ready. And so we weren't ready if, we weren't ready for kids. We weren't, ready for the entrepreneurship life. But, and I hate to, keep bringing up Steve Harvey's name for whatever reason, but he's right in this one fact. Now, I don't agree with a lot of stuff that he spousing off at the mouth that, but he was right about one thing is that a lot of times you do just have to jump out on faith.
Oh yeah.
You're not going to be ready. You just gotta do it, and you gotta learn as you go and adjust accordingly. So I didn't know parenthood was really for me until I became a parent.
Makes
You know,
sense.
right? That makes sense. You don't know. You ain't a parent. You haven't gone through it. But unfortunately, it's not one of those things you can try and get back either. So there are a lot of people that go through that and they become a parent and then they learn, you know what, parenthood is not for me. What do you do then? And I think we got a lot of people who are dealing with those type of issues as well, because the only way to not own up to your responsibilities is to be a terrible human being at that point, you know? And when I say that, I mean that acknowledge that you made the choice to have a kid and then you're not owning up to the responsibilities of parenthood. So it puts a lot of people through, for lack of better words, a mental mind fuck that they're not ready for, because you can't give up that selfish part of you that needs to serve this this other individual now. But you got to define that for yourself. So I'm in your corner. You know me. You know I'm a phone call away. I be moving around, but I am here. I
Yeah,
am here.
definitely, definitely. Let's go ahead and wrap up. What are some of the things you're working on for 2017?
2017. We got a lot of things. Trying to release my first ebook in 2017, so I'm excited about that. It's been a long time coming. We're still growing out our digital platform, Pancake Insider, getting our content more regularly on there. We still want to highlight more other entrepreneurs, specifically women entrepreneurs that you know of as well. So thank you for being a part of that. That's been a part of our history. We haven't had as much time to dedicate toward it, in 2016, but we want to get back on that horse in 2017. Um, Amber, my wife, her Circale body cream line is up and ready for distribution as well. She's already been having a modest amount of sales, so we want to increase that revenue as much as possible. We're also in our vehicle for that's going to be Facebook modeling. Dude, Facebook is a monster. Facebook marketing models is a monster. So even for my organization, so like I told you before, we're about 70 million in revenue for my territory, and we're trying to increase that, by about 3%. So 3% growth doesn't seem that big, but on $70 million, it's good enough, So But a lot of my focus with that growth is really just going to be on the type of people that we bring into the organization. So a lot of my 2017 is going to be just built around making sure I'm building the right team. And and no, I was going to say that because it goes back to what's probably my final mantra, which is, you don't build business, you build people, and then people build business. So it's just about finding the right people that we're bringing in the door for 2017. We've created, I plan on creating 8 new salaried positions in 2017 and then making sure that they're filled with the right people. So that's what we got cooking.
How can people get in touch with you?
Isom Kuade at gmail.com is the easiest way.
Well, I want to acknowledge you. I'm just going to keep it simple. I just love your mind. I love our conversations. I love your family.
Thank you. Thank you.
We've been great friends, so it's just an absolute pleasure watching the journey of the Washington household. And you already know, if you need anything, I'm there, and vice versa.
We really appreciate it more than you know, Michelle. So if we haven't said it before, don't say it enough. We do appreciate you just being a friend and just doing what you're doing. Love watching the grind. Same thing. Likewise, if you need anything from us, we only a phone call, text, Skype message away. 2-hour drive down the road too. If you ever just want to come up, crash out here, hang out in ATX, we love to have you. We love you.
Final question: how do you define success?
It's self-defined. It really is. It is self-defined. Nobody else can define that for you. You have to decide what life you want to wake up to. And if you can say and you can wake up and truly admit that this is what you want every single day of your life, then you found it already.
There you have it. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed this interview. Make sure you go to michellegourmet.com for the show notes and links to get in contact with Isom. Remember, I believe in you. Personal connection leads to an influential network. So thanks for networking with Michelle.